I was nearly 60 years old and still being treated like a child. That's what it felt like when my very elderly parents, bless them, told me they wanted to review the plans I had in place for my vulnerable adult child. Not their child, mine. Not their future to manage, not their responsibility to oversee. But still, they insisted. They said they wanted to have a say. They wanted meetings. They wanted to go over the trust documents, they said, to make sure everything was in order. I laughed at first. Then I felt my face go hot. It wasn't just the request. It was the pattern, the implication, the invisible string I've spent decades trying to cut, being tied back around my wrist again. Because this wasn't about money, it was about control. And after nearly 60 years, I was running out of ways to say, I've got this. Let me back up. I'm an only child. Always have been. Always will be. And that comes with its blessings and its burdens. My parents, now in their 80s, were the kind of people who didn't really believe in boundaries. And for most of my life, they didn't need to. I was their daughter, their world. But the thing is, I grew up, got married, built a beautiful life. I have 3 amazing kids, all adults now. One of them needs extra help, and always will. And yes, it's complicated, sometimes exhausting, sometimes heartbreaking, but it's also the most sacred responsibility I've ever known. My husband and I have spent 30 years figuring this out together, talking late into the night, planning, researching, learning from lawyers and experts, making sure our children, not just our vulnerable one, but all of them, would be safe, protected, and free long after we were gone. We've had the hard conversations. We've made the uncomfortable decisions. We've set up a trust to protect against scams, to protect against isolation, to protect against the slow erosion of independence that aging can bring. We didn't just talk, we did the work. But now, out of nowhere, my parents were asking to see my plans, not to offer support, not to contribute, but to evaluate, to assess whether my plans were good enough. They were, in their words, just trying to help. But what they really meant was, we don't trust you to get this right. They wanted to know how I plan to take care of my child 30 years from now, when I'm gone, when they're long gone, and when I pushed back, when I told them I found it invasive and overstepping. They acted shocked, hurt. They said, we should have a say. We want to make sure our grandchild is taken care of. I said, you're welcome to make any provisions you want in your own estate. But they didn't want to hear that. They wanted influence over my future, over my child's future, over decisions that should belong to me and my husband, the people who've lived and breathed this reality every single day. And suddenly, I felt like I was 14 again. Sitting at the kitchen table, explaining myself, justifying my choices, asking for permission. But this wasn't about curfews or report cards. This was about my child's life, and I lost it. I told them, flat out, that they were overstepping, that their input wasn't just uninvited, it was offensive. I told them I didn't need Daddy checking my trust documents like I was playing pretend with a piggy bank. I told them I was 58, married for 30 years, raising 3 thriving adults, building a house for them on my property so I can take care of them in their final years. And still, they didn't see me as capable. Still, I was being treated like someone who needed approval. And that's when the real pain hit. Not the frustration, not the anger, but the ache. Because I am close to them, especially my mom. And this isn't a relationship I want to throw away. There's love here, deep love, history, stories, shared struggle. They were good parents in many ways. They saw I needed therapy when I was younger, and they made sure I got it, but they never went themselves. And over the years, the dynamic never quite shifted. They never quite let go. Even now, as they approach the end of their lives, they're still trying to hold the reins. Long after the horse has grown and galloped out of the barn, this isn't new behavior. When I was younger, they used money to try to control my decisions, but I didn't bend. I made my own life, on my own terms. I didn't shut them out, but I didn't let them steer either. Now they're older, frailer, facing their own mortality, and I can see it so clearly now. Their anxiety is screaming through their desire for control. Their fear of death is manifesting in this desperate attempt to dictate what happens after they're gone, to make sure their grandchild, the one who still needs extra help, will be okay. But in trying to do that, they forgot something vital. They forgot that I've already thought of all this, that I've already devoted my life to it, that I am not some passive bystander waiting to be told what to do. I am a mother. I've walked with my child through meltdowns, medical appointments, sleepless nights, discrimination, setbacks, small miracles. I know every corner of their strength and struggle. I've helped them build a cottage business. I've fought to preserve their dignity and independence. I've built them a home, literally, on our land, in a trust, for life. And I've done all this without needing my parents to double-check my homework. So I ask myself, again, why am I still being treated like I can't be trusted? I've kept them in the loop. I've been transparent. I've shared our plans over the years. This wasn't about secrecy. It was about sovereignty. But they didn't hear that. They heard, "We're not involved." And they panicked. They wanted to meet, to talk, to advise, to influence. I wanted to say, "I love you, I honor you, but you don't get to parent me anymore." Instead, I snapped. I let the hurt speak louder than the love. And that's what I'm wrestling with now. Because I don't want to abandon them. I never have. I'm literally building a house on my land for them, so I can be there, so they're never alone, so they can age with comfort and dignity. But I also need my dignity, and I can't keep handing it over just because they're afraid. So now I'm sitting with it. The grief, the resentment, the guilt, the history. I'm asking myself, can I find a way to show them grace without sacrificing my boundaries? Can I hear their fears without letting them take over the plans I've spent a lifetime building? Can I love them and still tell them no? I think I can. But it's hard, because I'm not just navigating estate planning. I'm navigating emotional inheritance, the kind that's passed down not in dollars, but in dynamics. And the truth is, I'm not angry that they're worried. I'm angry that after everything I've done, they still don't see me. So, am I the asshole? For telling them they don't get a say? For drawing the line? For finally saying, this is mine to decide? For feeling insulted when they wanted to review the way I care for my own child? I don't know. But I know this. I've loved them fiercely. I've honored their legacy. And I will keep showing up for them and for my children until the very end. But I will not let fear dictate my future. And I will not let the past erase who I've become. What does it mean to grow up? Is it paying bills? Making plans? Raising children? Or is it something deeper? Something quieter? Like finally looking your parents in the eyes and saying, I love you, but I'm not your little girl anymore. This story isn't just about estate planning. It's about legacy, control, boundaries, the complex push and pull between love and autonomy. It's about what we inherit, not just money, but roles, expectations, old stories about who we're allowed to be. And sometimes, the most radical thing we can do is rewrite the script. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever had to draw the line with someone you love, share your experience in the comments. Let someone else feel less alone. And if you're a parent, ask yourself, do I trust the child I raised to take the wheel? Or am I still reaching for the keys? This has been AITA Stories. We tell the stories that live in the quiet corners of family, love, and human complexity. Thanks for listening.